spent a lot of time on the sites, out actually working on the sites, because that's how we built it up way in the 90s. You know, I stayed on the sites full time. We went from day to day and just started sort of with 1 or 2 tractors and a few line spreaders and silage makers and stuff like that. And then we employed a couple of people, gradually, and we moved on from that.
It's the missing link in the completion of the M5. So just in terms of people's day-to-day lives, it's going to be that 10 minutes, maybe once or twice a day for people travelling the route, safer, and improves the connectivity to the west, which is part of the government's National Development Plan, spatial strategies, connecting the hubs. And look, it's really going to make a difference.
We'd be nowhere only for the staff. And that's the truth. And that's a fact, a real fact, you know. We would be nowhere only for the staff.
The biggest challenge on the project is the scale. This type of work, it's not to say it's not challenging, but in reality, I'm doing this 16 years and I've been involved in 100 kilometres of road construction. Jerry, Darren, all our senior management, that's the same. This is what we do. What's different about this job is it's huge. You have to respect that. It's a different game. Logistically, it's colossal. The total muck shift here is over 5 million cube. So like, to put that in context, the standard trucks you see on the road move about 8 cubic metres, so you're looking at 650,000 trucks of material have to be dug out and moved somewhere else. I would have been involved in the tender of this scheme, and Jerry more heavily. Then you get a continuity of the thought process through the tender that comes to delivery, and I suppose it eases the transition as to the transition from the tender desk to the field.
When you get your tender, you'd look at what exactly has to be done on a linear project like what we're doing here, where it's over 35 kilometres. Moving 5 million cube is a lot more challenging than moving it within an actual quarry setup. So what I done was come out on site and done my own ground investigation that would supplement the actual investigation that we got off our client. Another area where we looked at was the amount of import material, this material that you have to get from external sources to actually be able to build the roads. So your external source are usually your neighbouring quarries. But this means an awful lot of road haulage. So instead of external import, we're borrowing out on site and going using that material for the construction of the road. It was an option for us to take out this rock by blast, and so we had an estimate of about 250,000 tonne that we could get out of this area instead of bringing it at 20 tonne a load in a lorry from an external quarry. So that's reducing an awful lot of lorry haulage through the local towns. What we're talking about within bore pits, like you're talking about tens of thousands of reduction in lorry movements. So I'd be actually able to decide, right, what way we can build this road and what materials I can use where, and we'd be able to make a better judgment on our price, naturally enough, because everything will go back to the price, but we'd be able to give a better judgment on what way the job is going to be built.
Access on this project, I think, is the biggest problem we have. There's long sections of the job where you can't access, so we're having to build temporary roads through the job to get access.
35 kilometres of main line, 15 kilometres of side roads. Like, you know, what we're doing on the side roads here, 15 kilometres, that's a large scheme typically in the country. And it's kind of the incidental stuff as part of this scheme.
Testing ground conditions in the west of Ireland, not only from the weather above. Compared to Dublin, you're like working in a different country.
Staff is probably harder got now. Definitely, there's no question about that. What I've noticed over the last 10 years is that the young women have come on and they're beginning to drive machines, big machines, sort of machines that carry big dump trucks.
It is different from every other job that a young girl would be interested in. And I think when you're going to work every day and you enjoy the job, it makes a big difference.
There is no why and you. The words are how and we. Direct communication, direct challenge, but with empathy. I say without empathy, direct challenge can lead to defensiveness in people. But what you have here can be a good vigorous discussion, and we're fighting the problem, not the people. Be that us, the engineers together, the foremen, talking to the drivers, or Charlie when he comes, or the other management. There's good engaged discussion for us collectively to figure out what it is we need to do. There was a more prescriptive set of environmental management criteria than we would have ever seen on a job previously. So we were guided by that, and I suppose the challenge for us was to come up with a system to deliver this new requirements, and look, we feel we've done that. We've implemented fleet telematics on the dumpers, the diggers, so that we're getting real-time feedback in the office every time a dumper moves, every time it tips, its travel speed, its fuel usage. The environmental management aspect of the job has been a real step up from us, what has been done previously. The level of implementation here was huge, and not just implementation of the measures, the monitoring. So we have an environmental team full-time on site, supplemented by an environmental consultant who carry out daily turbidity monitoring upstream and downstream of all the site at locations agreed with the fisheries.
Our policy is keep good neighbours wherever we go. We go to the local community and we tell them what we're doing. We went to the daycare centre, we sat in and amongst the elderly people in there and ate sandwiches and drank tea, and they drank whiskey and they danced, but we sponsored that, and we not only did we answered questions, they were asking questions about the environment, they were asking questions about animal underpasses, what are we doing for the local wildlife, what are we doing this, and we were able to tell them there's 14 crosses on the job, their pipeline crosses, their deer fencing, and they said, well, that's great, let's put our mind at rest. And you have to involve yourself.
There's numerous benefits the whole way through the scheme that's going to make a difference to people's lives. But maybe what's different from us and other large contractors is we deliver the work with our own fleet, our own earthworks, and that is our background. It's ingrained into us from day one in the company. It's you keep the work going out there, remove the obstacles, have the design in place, have the environmental things dealt with, have all these things. We manage them as a team, but say us as engineers and managers, we're there to facilitate these top class operatives out there who are productively doing work and getting this done.
There's some super talented people within Wills, and I'm not saying just from college, I'm talking from leaving cert upwards. It's the people that make Wills and give the right training and encouragement and bring people on with respect is what Wills Brothers does, and that's what brings us to where we are now,
How do I help clients? I think it's very important that you mix around with everybody, and I know most people, and I'm happier outside with the people with the shovel rather than the people in the office. Our employees are really Wills Brothers. It's not us, really. It's the employees. And we all look after each other very well, and we class them as a family.